there's nothing holding you back. What would your thing be?
Watch football all season long, live and cable free.
You do your thing, and you do it well. Now, it's time to do it bigger. Ready to bring your brand into the real world? Shopify is ready for that too. With a retail point of sale solution that lets you sell in stores, or markets, or pop-up events, wherever your customers find you, you'll be there to make the sale. Your idea, your business, your future. Powered by Shopify.
Nacho and I are going to show you how to make a gourmet cat bowl using Made by Nacho recipes you can get at PetSmart. I'm going to create a base using bone broth infused kibble. I'm finishing Nacho's bowl by coating it with salmon cuts and gravy with bone broth. Here you go, Nach. He seems pretty happy to me.
All right. We are ready to start streaming. How's it going? We're going to talk today about, we're going to watch Trump's speech that he did in Michigan last night. And then we're going to talk about this Vice hit piece that they did on the guy who Sound of Freedom, the movie, was based on. It's just a bunch of stupid bullshit, but here. Tim Ballard is his name. Yeah, Vice wrote a hit piece on him saying that he was sexually inappropriate towards women or something when he was working, I guess. I don't know. But this was like right after he said he was going to run for Congress, like 5 days after he said that, they made a hit piece on him. So, you know, it's just a bunch of bullshit because they don't want, what's his fucking name? Utah. What the fuck is his name? I can't remember his name. It's Mitch something. No, not Mitch. What the hell? Why can't I think of his fucking name? One second. This is gonna irritate me if I can't. It's the senator of Utah. Let me look up what his name is. Mitt Romney. I don't know why I couldn't think of his name, but Mitt Romney's just a fucking rhino. He's a piece of shit. All right, let's get into it. All right, let's watch this.
Room where we wanted to keep it small, and outside we have thousands and thousands of people. Have you seen what's going on?
The audio on it's kind of fucked.
I'm thrilled to be back with the workers, UAW members.
I do think that this was a smart move of him.
Great people. Here in Michigan and across the country tonight, there are countless thousands of auto workers and skilled tradesmen worried about the future and what the future holds for themselves and for their incredible families. I want to begin this evening by saluting these truly great Americans who do not get the credit they deserve. You don't get the credit they deserve. Now they want to go electric and put you all out of business. You know that, right? To the welders, assembly line workers, machine operators, forklift drivers, pipe fitters, tool and die makers, mechanics, electricians, technicians, and journeymen. We love being with you, and we love being with you right in your environment. You built this country, you love this country, and you are the ones that make our country run. You know that, right? Before I stepped into the arena 7 years ago, I spent my whole life working alongside of Americans just like you. Spent a lot of time with you. You just don't know that, but I spent a lot of time with you and people just like you. Now, I put everything on the line to fight for you. I've risked it all to defend the working class from the corrupt political class that has spent decades sucking the life, wealth, and blood out of this country.
True that.
That's why I'm here tonight to lay out a vision for a revival of economic nationalism and our automobile manufacturing lifeblood, which they're sucking out of our country.
Based.
I want a future that protects American labor, not foreign labor. A future that puts American dreams over foreign profits. And a future that raises American wages, that strengthens American industry, that builds national pride, and that defends this country's dignity, not squanders it all to build up foreign countries that hate us. And you know where they are? They're located all over the world, but they're mostly on the other side of the world. We don't want that. Under crooked Joe Biden, you have none of this. You have none of the things we want. Instead of economic nationalism, you have ultra-left-wing globalism. They hate our country. And the workers of America are getting, to put it very nicely, screwed. You're getting screwed. Yesterday, Joe Biden
Put
came
it very
to Michigan
nicely.
to pose
You're getting
for photos
screwed.
at the picket line. But it's his policy.
Oh, bro, I
that
might
send
be able to
Michigan
get.
auto workers
I might be
the
able to get America
unemployment
all
line.
in one little
He
thing
only
right here.
came after I announced that I would be here. You know, he announced
Ah,
quite a
damn.
bit later. Spoke for a few seconds. Did you notice he spoke for what? A few seconds? And he had absolutely
Well, that's because he
no
can't talk
idea
for
what he
long.
was saying. He didn't know where he was. He didn't know where he was. He didn't know what he was saying. Where am I? He's saying, where am I? Oh, you're in Michigan. Oh, that's great. What do they do in Michigan? They grow weed in Michigan, he said.
They grow weed in Michigan, he
That's
said.
Iowa and other places. Biden's cruel and ridiculous electrical. Think of this. He wants electric vehicle mandates that will spell the death of the U.S. auto industry. You know, it doesn't matter. I watch it. You're negotiating a contract. You're all on picket lines and everything. But it doesn't make a damn bit of difference what you get, because in 2 years you're all going to be out of business. You're not getting anything. What they're doing to the auto industry in Michigan and throughout the country is absolutely horrible and ridiculous. Hundreds of thousands of American jobs, your jobs, will be gone forever because crooked Joe Biden is selling out. But I don't think it's him. I don't think he actually knows what the hell he's doing. You want to know? He doesn't. She says he doesn't know. He doesn't know. It's not his fault. Let's not blame him. But he's surrounded with radical left Marxists and crazy people, fascists, bad people.
Fascists.
He's selling you out to China. He's selling you out to the environmental extremists on the radical left. People have no idea how bad this is going to be also for the environment. You know, those batteries, when they get rid of them, and lots of bad things happen, and when they're digging it out of the ground to make those batteries, it's going to be very bad for the environment. You can be loyal to
No, it's worse
American
for the
labor, you can
environment
be
than-
loyal to the
than
environmental
fracking
lunatics,
is.
But you can't really be loyal to both. It's one or the other, and they understand that. The Democrat Party has no idea what they're doing right now. They have no idea what to do. Crooked Joe is siding with the left-wing crazies who will destroy automobile manufacturing and will destroy our country itself. They're destroying our country. You look at that at the border. We had the safest border in history. Now you look at what's happening. It's just a horror show. I side with the auto workers of America and with those who want to make America great again, and I always will.
Based.
And I don't get one thing. I don't get why Ford and GM, why these car makers aren't fighting to make cars that are going to sell, to make cars that are going to be able to go on long distances. They immediately give up. I see it with the oil companies, too. They're promoting windmills, which don't work, by the way, but they don't work. They want windmills all over the place. It's like they're told what to do, and that's what they go against their industry. They're either stupid or they're gutless. But why do they concede so fast? This plant, we just walked through this plant, and the electric vehicles are going to put them out of business. They don't need any of this. The things that you make in Michigan, they don't need any of it. Why is it that these big, powerful car companies with guys that are making $35 million a year immediately quit? They say, you want electric vehicles, we'll give it to you, when the damn things don't go far enough and they're too expensive. And I'm not in that business, but I know a lot about it. They don't go far enough and they're too expensive. A vote for Crooked Joe means the future of the auto industry will be made in China. That's what it's going to be.
For real.
That's where they're made. My pledge to every automaker is this: a vote for President Trump means the future of the automobile will be made in America, where it should be. Made in America.
Mm-hmm. USA. USA.
It will be fueled by American energy. It will be sourced by American suppliers. It will be sculpted from American iron, aluminum, and steel. And it will be built by highly skilled American hands and high-wage American labor. That's what's going to happen. That's what's going to happen. And we'll do it first day in office. First day in office. It'll be signed out first day in office. What they're doing to our country is horrible. What they're doing to...
It's going to put tariffs back on China. That'll be good.
I saved American auto manufacturing. You know that.
You know, back when I was more of a libertarian, I used to not really like tariffs or any form of protectionism, but now I understand why we need it.
When there's nothing holding you back, what would your thing be?
Oh, last time I played an ad, it got me a strike, so I'm just muting it until...
Again, in our second term, unfortunately,
go.
that's what we had to do because things happened during the election that you know about. Happened right here in this state also. And we will make it bigger, better, and stronger than ever before. That's what we're going to do. But we want to talk about it, but we talk... And we keep talking, but we don't want to talk too much. But before we do talk about the current UAW strike that we've been hearing about, and I see people really with mixed emotions because you're striking for wages, but you know your job's only going to be here for 2 years or 3 years.
Sure, you can make banana bread right now. Maybe he was what?
Auto manufacturing in the United States. Let's remember... You got to remember how we got here. For decades and decades, and I've been talking about this subject for 12 years.
Oh, yeah.
Before you ever thought of becoming a politician.
There we go.
How good was that? That's a lot of fun. I could have had the easiest, nicest life, L. I would have had the nicest, softest life.
For real. His life would have been so much easier instead of having all these indictments, having his business.
I never heard of the word indictment. Now I get indicted like
having his business be attacked.
He
having
spoke badly about the election. He must
oh,
be
whoops.
died. He said something bad.
I have an alliance with that person.
Joe Biden is the most corrupt president and most incompetent president we've ever had. Oh, no. No, I shouldn't have said that. I'm going to get indicted again for saying that. For decades, you've watched rotten and crooked politicians like Biden treat American jobs as disposable and American workers as expendable. They sat back and got rich by taking bribes to let other countries rape and pillage our jobs and our wealth. That's what happened. Joe Biden claims to be the most union president in history.
I'd get banned.
Think of it. His entire career, just think of it. His entire career has been an act of economic treason and union destruction. He's destroyed unions, shipping millions of American jobs overseas.
Not showing my
while
penis.
Taking money from foreign nations, hand over fist. Look at the money he got from China. Look at what's coming out, China. Crooked Joe backed NAFTA. He backed China's entry into the World Trade Organization. He backed the horrendous Trans-Pacific Partnership.
It's just not going to happen. Maybe later.
Auto industry had I not stopped it. You remember when I stopped it? You guys were gone. You were gone. And that was a done deal. And in fact, during the debate, I got...
Holy crap, how did Red get defeated that fast? That was crazy.
So I call her beautiful. She's a beautiful woman. Beautiful Hillary Clinton. To change her position on TPP, they were trying to pull a fast one on you, so she actually changed her position during the campaign, but she would have changed it back had that been a different result. But thank goodness it wasn't, because we made things and did things that nobody believed possible. Nobody believed possible. Biden also backed a gentleman named Barack Hussein Obama. Have you ever heard of him? And his atrocious Korean trade deal. You've heard of him. Crooked Joe backed every single blood-sucking globalist attack on U.S. auto workers, and you've been attacked for a long time. Those attacks all stopped for 4 years with us, and they were getting so strong, and you were getting so strong, and they were building plants here again. Now the plants are going back to Mexico, and they're going back to China. And he's coming back.
Well, neoliberalism has really destroyed America.
If it's not him, it'll be somebody else with the same ideas, because that's the ideas they have. They're very destructive for our country. But we will stop him.
That's another reason why I don't really like
endorse Donald Trump.
Reagan, is because he really ushered in neoliberalism back when he was president.
Because, standard history for years and decades and years, they always endorse a Democrat. It's almost like an automatic reflex, and there's no reason for it, but it's a habit.
Are you going to do anything, bro?
Hasn't worked, because, look, you've lost 38% of your industry over the period of 25 years.
Oh, they're offline.
Much of it's gone to Mexico. We don't talk about Mexico. Much of it's gone to Mexico. They make plants in Mexico. A friend of mine, a great supporter, but a great gentleman.
Oh, they're back online.
Plants. That's what he builds, auto plants. He said to me the other day, you got to see the plants.
Or maybe it's AI now.
I said, well, how do they...
Oh, that's probably what that dot means.
Not even a contest. And I said, isn't that a shame? You remember what I did? I said, you don't give us protection at our border, I'm going to charge you a tariff of 25%. We want 28,000 soldiers on our border, and we had the safest border in the history of our country. Now we have the worst border in the history of the world, by the way. After NAFTA, the United States lost nearly 4 million manufacturing jobs and almost 1 in 3 auto jobs. Joe Biden voted on that. He gave you that. Nearly 250,000 jobs were destroyed here in Michigan alone, including 40% of all auto jobs. Think of that. In fact, I had to check this number because it's inconceivable. You would think factories. 60,000 factories closed and went overseas. Can you imagine? 60,000? No, who would think that? When I first saw that number, I said, oh, somebody made a typographical error. Maybe it was 600 factories. Could have been 6,000, but that sounded too high. 60,000. And the good news is, if the number was wrong, the fake news will be checking it out. So I have to say,
oh, what the hell? I didn't mean to do that.
Crooked Joe and his payday with the Biden family, they raked in millions and millions of dollars. You see what's going on. The news doesn't really report it. Very little news reports it. But it was the men and women who got every single day. They got up and came back home with grease on their hands, and they were the ones that paid the price. They paid a big, big price. The only time Joe Biden has ever gotten his hands dirty is when he's taking cash from foreign countries, which is quite often, actually.
What?
It's quite often. Based on what we're seeing, it's much more often than anyone would have thought. But can you imagine an unannounced raid on his many homes? He would have made Senator Menendez look like a baby, just like a baby. Can you imagine? You know, they gave him 3 weeks' notice. You know, they said, we're going to raid your home over documents. They gave him 3 weeks. With 3 weeks.
Damn. That sucks. I almost took out two. I almost took out two people at one time.
I care about enriching your family. That's why I did this. That's why I did it. I'm working for you, not for me. That is for sure, and I always will. I will always have your back. I promise you that. I will always have your back.
I really thought I was going to get that. I didn't have enough time, otherwise I would have. That sucks.
After 8 long years of Obama and Biden. But you finally got a president who stood up to the... You got to understand, I stood up to people that hate you. They hate you. Or they maybe hate our country. But I stood up for you. I stood up for the auto workers and stood up for the great state of Michigan like nobody's ever stood up before. And just as I promised, I withdrew from the Trans-Pacific Partnership my very first week. You remember 2016 when we won Michigan? Michigan hadn't been won in like decades. Average at all. And then we did much better in 2020. I mean, I hate to tell you, we did much better. But we're going to do so. We're going to swamp them. We're going to swamp them. We actually did much better, including in Michigan. I ended Obama's war on American energy. He had a war on American energy. Gasoline prices plummeted and soon reached $1.87 a gallon. How does that sound? Now, you know, it's over $5 and $6 and even $7 a gallon in some places, and it's going up higher and higher and higher. And I think they want that. That way you go all electric, so you can drive for 15 minutes before you have to get a charge. The economy boomed. The household incomes rose by more than $6,000 a year, which was a record. $6,000 a year during my term. A year. I ended the disaster known as NAFTA, the worst trade deal ever made, and replaced it with the brand new USMCA, Mexico, Canada. That's the best trade deal ever made, they say, in our country's history. I think the deal we made with China was even better, but unfortunately with COVID, I don't even talk about that one. But we made a lot of good deals with Japan, with South Korea, with many, many countries. We took bad deals and made them good deals. They were so bad, I used to ask my people, who made these deals? Why did they do it? Who made them? They were so bad, just on their face. With the USMCA, 75% of every car under that deal must be made in North America. In other words, they have to make 75% of the car in North America. Who ever heard of that? And a massive portion must be made by high-wage labor, which means American labor. You're high wage. Back in 2008, Biden and Obama promised you renegotiate NAFTA, but in 8 years, they never lifted a finger. They never changed a thing. You know, NAFTA was so bad that when it was negotiated a long time ago, decades ago, they made typographical errors, like in numbers. And they were bad typographic. They were bad for us. Cost us. Nobody went back to change them. They were typographical errors, and we lived with it for decades, with these errors. Can you imagine that? Normally, like, that happens. You do that in deals, too, and you go back the following day, say, they made a mistake. We're renegotiating this deal. I don't care if it's signed or not. And people sort of have to do that. Legally, they have to do that. If there's an error, if there's a typography. They made typographical errors. They made errors. Maybe they weren't so typographical. Probably the other side made them imperfect, actually. You know, they probably made them. But they made these errors, and they never corrected them for years, for decades. But I corrected them. You know how I did it? By terminating it. Terminating the whole damn deal. And I know how good the USMCA deal is because Canada, as you know, and Mexico are trying like hell to renegotiate it. They want to renegotiate that deal. But in less than 2 years, I got that done, the USMCA and many other deals. I also renegotiated Obama's Korea trade deal to fully restore your protective tariff on foreign pickup trucks. They wanted to change it. The Democrats wanted it to expire, and so did South Korea badly. They didn't want it. And without that, you wouldn't even have a truck industry. Right now, it's probably the strongest part of your industry. Without that, you wouldn't have
If you live in Montana, you could lower your electric bill to less than 30.
It was not easy, but we got it done, and we got it done properly. Michigan jobs would have been exported, while millions of foreign cars would have flooded American streets. That's what would have happened. Obama and Biden didn't care one bit, but I did, and I stopped it, and I stopped it cold. I took on communist China like no administration in history. No administration in history did what I've done, bringing in hundreds of billions of dollars pouring into our treasury when no other president had gotten literally 10 cents. And I also got $28 billion for our great farmers. You know that, right? Our farmers. That's why I say, you think I'm going to do badly in Iowa or Nebraska, any of Wisconsin, any of our farm areas? I say, you know, I don't want to be too cocky. I just got very good polls from all those places, from everywhere. He says, be cocky, that's okay. But who else would have done that? $28 billion. I said to the Secretary of Agriculture, Sonny Perdue, I said, Sonny, how bad have they treated us? $28 billion over a period of about 5 years. I said, they're going to pay it back. And they paid it back.
They paid it back.
And then perhaps my greatest unsung achievement,
Sweet.
I kept Chinese cars the hell out of America. Is that okay with you? Is that okay? UAW, is that okay? It's all right. And a lot of people don't know this, but I imposed a whopping 27.5% tariff and tax on all Chinese automobiles coming into our
You already
country. And
gave
this
me one.
magnificent tariff.
Fuck.
They can't get it off because they make so much money with it.
Fuck off.
If they took it off, you'd be out of business right away. They want to take it off. They're trying to take it off, but It's so good, it's so powerful, it's so strong, but they would take over your industry totally. But it remains in place to this day, not because they wanted to, but because
I know.
they have no choice. And it's no exaggeration to state that the Trump presidency and the deftly used and applied Trump tariffs and taxes saved the American auto industry from extinction time and time again. And we're going to do a version of it that's going to make you bigger and better.
Let's see if this works.
It's not even going to be a contest with where you are right now.
Space. Hopefully I can take this without any
But crooked Joe
casualties.
Biden is back
Fuck!
like a wretched old vulture trying to finish off his prey. Can you believe it? I don't know. I just don't know.
There we go.
You know, I see some of these things
All
that
right.
are happening. I say, I wonder if he has any idea that this stuff is happening. Biden's job-killing EV mandate has dictated that nearly 70% of all cars sold in the United States must be fully electric less than 10 years from now.
Yeah, no, that's so fucking crazy. Yeah, I do want the Chinese for lunch. Thank you, baby.
Take very short trips, okay? Hop in the car, darling. Let's drive down to the store and let's drive back. Oh, it's crazy. It's crazy. You know, they say the happiest day when you buy an electric car is the first 10 minutes you're driving it. And then after that, panic sets in because you're worried, where the hell am I going to get a charge to keep this thing going? No. Panic! They get panicked. Despite colossal government...
Man, I'm getting
subsidies,
fucked
Ford
right
alone
now.
is
I shouldn't have been so hard at the beginning.
$4.5 billion on electric vehicles. Why are they agreeing to this? That's what I don't understand. Why are they agreeing to it? Why does Ford and GM, why are they all agreeing to this? The cars aren't selling. They got them all over the place. You can buy them for peanuts. Why are they not fighting and saying it doesn't work? How about the trucks? The trucks go for like 1/5 of you take a Powerbuilt or one of the good brands, they go for just a small amount of time compared to a diesel-fired truck. Diesel-fired. You're not even allowed to say the word diesel-fired. Oh, that's bad for the environment. No, bad for the environment is having trucks all over the place that don't go. But on the electric vehicles this year, to comply with the mandate, is 60,000 loss. They're going to lose $60,000 for every car produced. That sounds like a great deal. But honestly, for UAW and for auto workers and for everybody and for the country, it's not sustainable. So they may try and do it, and I don't know, they're trying to do something for the environment. By the way, it's worse for the environment than what we're talking about. Much worse. But think of it. They're going to lose $60,000 a car. So when are they going to come to you and say, listen, we can't do this anymore? They're going to come to your head man, Sean. I've been watching him on television. He's a good man. I think he's a good man, but he's got to endorse Trump. The one thing
He's got to endorse Trump. That's funny.
One thing I say about a politician. I've known politicians all my life, and then if you would have told me I was going to be a politician someday, I would have said, no way, I don't want to be a politician. But the one thing I know is when you go out and you come out with an idea early, and then you in an election and you sort of lose that idea, you always come back to that idea. So these people are into the electric thing. They may soften it up a little bit during the election. They're coming back, and they're coming back stronger than ever. It's like Ron DeSanctimonious. He tried to destroy Social Security. Now he's trying to backpedal a little bit. He wanted to bring the minimum age to 70. He wanted to destroy it. He also put a heavy hit on Medicare. What happens is now they back up a little bit, but they always go back to it as soon as the election's over. So you can't go for that. And in the case of Biden, he's coming back to electric vehicles. Now he hasn't even left yet. So we're talking about, but yeah, maybe someday soon he's going to leave because he wants to get more votes. But just remember, he's coming back. They always go back to their original thought. That's where they are. I don't know why, but that's where they are. Biden's mandate isn't a government regulation. It's a government assassination of your jobs and of your industry. The auto industry is being assassinated. And it makes no difference what you get. I don't care what you get in the next 2 weeks or 3 weeks or 5 weeks. They're going to be closing up, and they're going to be building those cars in China and other places. It's a hit job on Michigan and on Detroit. And that's not sustainable. These numbers are not sustainable. No company can afford to lose $60,000 a car. It's going to be more than that. All of these cars will be manufactured
I shouldn't have gone so
in
hard
foreign lands that you couldn't care
right at
less
the
about.
beginning.
I want choice in schools and in the purchase of an automobile. an SUV or a truck. I want choice for my automobile, for my truck, for my SUV. And I also happen to want choice for schools. Do we agree with that choice?
Yeah.
This is about auto workers and automobiles and workers, period. But I think we can say that everybody wants to see choice in schools also. If you want to buy an electric car, that's absolutely fine. I'm all for it. But we should not be forcing consumers to buy electric vehicles. They want to buy all trucks. They want to make all trucks electric. You know that, right? They're going to destroy. You talk about supply chain.
If he was smart, he would try to take me out, and then he gets my cards. But I don't know if he is. Ooh, he might be.
Now the trucks probably don't have the power. They only go about 300 miles, whereas a diesel fuel truck goes 2,000 miles. That's a big difference.
Yep, he is smart enough to go try to take me.
Also, the battery takes up so much room. There's practically no room left for what you happen to be shipping. The whole thing is crazy. They want to do they want to do it with boats, too. I was with a boating manufacturer in a great state, South Carolina, with a great governor, by the way, Henry McMaster. And we were there 2 days ago, and I asked him that question. I said, he said, yeah, they want us to go all electric. I said, how does that work for a boat? He said, the entire boat would be like one big battery.
Damn it. Fuck.
We have no room for anything else. I said, what happens if the boat has an accident, starts sinking? Right. Do you get electrocuted if the boat sinks? The guy said, I've never thought of that, actually. But I think I gave him an idea, actually. Now, can you imagine the boat goes down and you're sitting on top of a battery? I don't feel good about that, right? In other words, you have to stop approximately for a truck 6 times for the same trip. How are they going to stop 6 times? And yet, it's not stopping these lunatics in Washington. These are lunatics. These are deranged people. And I'm not saying you can't buy an electric car. If you want to buy an electric car or a hybrid or an all-gasoline car or a truck, that has to be your choice. You should have that choice. It's great, right? I could see electric cars working great for certain uses, short-term, short-distance uses. We have unlimited gasoline. Remember that. We have unlimited. China doesn't. We have unlimited gasoline. For 500 years, we have gasoline, more than any other country in the world. Can you imagine a few years ago,
I'm
we were
pink.
energy independent. Now we're begging countries
Or
to
purple,
give us
I guess.
something. Can you imagine? No, can you even imagine? And we had the best, the lightest, the sweetest. We have the best stuff. Now we're getting it.
What do I want to do here? I'm kind of fucked on this.
They have to refine. You know where they refine it? In Houston, Texas. We take tar now from Venezuela. Venezuela was supposed to be the bad guys. Venezuela's getting rich. We're refining their tar. And we're not taking our beautiful, beautiful stuff. We have the best stuff. But we have the most. We have more than Saudi Arabia, more than Russia. We were energy.
Man, it's only 8:30. I'm so fucking tired.
Sell it to Europe. We're going to pay off our debt. We're going to lower taxes still further. It's amazing. And then these people came in and they have no clue, or they have a clue, which is even more dangerous in a certain way. Right now, electric cars don't go far enough, and they're just far, far too expensive, and people aren't going to be able to afford them.
Let's
And
think
the cost
here.
of operation is also
Let's
much more.
think.
This is
I don't really have a good move.
their option.
I don't
and
have
it's
a
an
plan
option
with
that
the setup
some
that
people
I'm
will
at
take.
right now.
All for 'em, but I will not allow
3.
the American automobile industry
There you go, like this.
to die. I want it to thrive, and to thrive like never before. So we're here today at Drake Enterprises, a family-owned, beautiful place. They gave me a tour. I said, this place is beautiful. I said, come on, let's go. I got to go fast. I got to make a speech. It's all over television, this speech. You know,
I gotta make a speech.
Job candidates. They're all running for a job. No, they're all job candidates. They want to be in the, they'll do anything. Secretary of something. They even say VP. I don't know. Does anybody see any VP in the group? I don't think so. No, that's right. Can you imagine? They don't have a crowd like we have. When you look at the thousands of people outside that couldn't get in, why didn't you build a bigger plant? I'd like to. But we're here today at Drake Enterprises, a family-owned and operated Michigan auto parts supplier. that has been manufacturing in America for over 70 years, right? Drake was founded by a great man in 1952, Benny Stemple, right? Benny
Stemple.
We love Benny, your father, your grandfather. An American man, he deceased, American man with a big American dream. He had a big, big, beautiful dream. Benny started with just 4 people and soon came to dominate the production of gear shift levers for trucks. Today, the company produces transmission components, driveline components, engine components.
I don't get why you didn't attack that one
parts
first.
for every one of the Detroit Big Three. So I won't tell them I've said bad things about them in your place, okay? I just want them to fight for what's right. It's common sense. But tonight I was honored to meet Benny's son, Lee, and Lee's children, Nate and Heather. Thank you very much. That's great. Beautiful family. Nate and Heather say their vision for this company is to prove that the American dream is still alive for their employees like it was just for their granddad, who was so wonderful. So Lee, Nate, and Heather, we're going to help you get that job done, okay? And I want to congratulate you on 3 generations of American auto parts proudly made in Michigan. We love Michigan. Great feeling for Michigan. Bad things are happening in Michigan. Your crime rate's through the roof. You got a lot of businesses moving out now. It's unbelievable. Not even believable. Today, nearly 100% of Drake's business is producing components that go into vehicles.
Oh, fuck. What's he doing here?
Engines, the very product that Joe Biden and the radical left Democrats and fascists, Marxists, now they want to make them, for whatever reason, illegal. Figure that one out. And yes, it's true. Today's radical Democrat Party wants to legalize drugs, shoplifting, and sexual mutilation of your children, but they want to allow your gas-powered Suburban, Silverados, and Ford F-150s to die. They can die. Under a Trump administration, gasoline engines will be allowed. And sex changes for children will be banned. Is that okay?
Based.
Can you believe it? Mutilization. You know, if you said 10 years ago, 15 years ago, we will stop the mutilization of children, somebody would say, what the hell is he talking about? Today, you have to say it because that's what they're doing. Mutilization of children without parent consent. The whole thing is insane. The country has gone insane. You know, a lot of it, they say, you're very conservative. I say, no, I'm a person of common sense. It's not conservative. It's common sense. We want to have a border. We want to have good voting. We want to have same-day voting with all paper ballots. And we want to have a thing called voter ID. Why do the Democrats not want voter ID? Because they want to cheat.
Because they want to
we want to have voter
falsify
ID.
the election. They want to.
But if crooked Joe Biden gets his way, Drake employees and countless other auto workers and suppliers will really be decimated. I don't know. I hate to tell you what's going to happen, but you know what's going to happen. We're going to stop it. By most estimates, under Biden's electric vehicle mandate, 40% of all U.S. auto jobs will disappear. Think of this, in 1 or 2 years. Think 1 or 2 years. That's what you have to be talking about, not you're going to get X dollars an hour. It doesn't matter what the hell you're getting an hour. Do me a favor. Just get your union guys, your leaders, to endorse me. Okay? And I'll take care of the rest. Because
he said that a few times.
Because in looking over the statistics now, they're saying, but the real number will be 100%.
I bet he's going to move that up to there.
The entire car industry will be packed up and shipped to China, which controls over 80% of the supply chain for electric vehicle batteries. They control the whole thing.
Different place than where I would have put it.
100% of the business will be gone. Every time Joe Biden and the UAW's political leadership talk about a fair transition to all electric cars, American labor will be under siege. It's not going to work for you. It can't work. And I learned a lot today with this great family. I tell you, they said, you know, it just won't work. They don't need anything that you have right here in Michigan, and they have beautiful product. There's no such thing as a fair transition to the end of your way of life. You're going to lose your beautiful way of life. For auto workers, Biden's forced transition is a transition to hell. It's a transition to hell. It's a transition to unemployment and to inflation without end. The inflation that you have now, we didn't have inflation. We had the greatest economy in the history of our country. You know that because you went 4 years like you've never had.
Why would he have done that?
Your history and the history of Michigan. To the striking workers, I support you in your goal of fair wages and greater stability, and I truly hope you get a fair deal for yourselves and your families. But if your union leaders will not demand that Crooked Joe repeal his electric vehicle mandate immediately, then it doesn't matter what hourly wage you get. It just doesn't make a damn bit of difference, because in 2 to 3 years, you will not have one job in this state. And you've seen it happen before. You've seen what happened where massive percentages of your industry went to other countries like Mexico, like China, like South Korea, like Japan. In other words, your current negotiations don't mean as much as you think. I mean, I watch you out there with the pickets, but I don't think you're picketing for the right thing. But if they endorse me, your leadership, you can tell them I said it, although I have a feeling they may be watching tonight. Because, you know, when Biden came here yesterday, they only had 11 people. I'll bet you we have 10,000 people standing outside. Right? I think we do. In fact, for a little while, we're driving through, the people are going crazy. I said, is this a rally tonight? No, but I said, is this a rally? We're driving through thousands and thousands of people. We just put it online. Incredible. The great Dan Scavino put it online. Where's Dan Scavino? The great Dan Scavino. He gets everything. He sees what's going on. Thank you, Dan. Where is he? One of the greats of all time, most powerful men in politics. He controls the internet.
I don't know who Dan Scavino
Get over
is.
here for the cameras, Dan. Get over there. Stephen Chung has done incredible. Jason Miller, a legend. Jason. Oh, somebody likes you. Oh, yeah, Jason. Now I have a great group of people. They all want to come. I said, you guys don't have to come. They said, no, we want to come. They want to come. And they don't want to come to keep me from falling either. They want to come for You see that one now? They have a new plan. How to keep this guy from standing up. We have to get him to stand up. How to keep him standing up and getting down a flag. You know, it's so unelegant. You know, I love those 747s. Air Force One. You know, I got new Air Force One. I saved $1.7 billion. They came to me. They said, sir, would you sign this? First day I was in office, I said, what is it? It's a new Air Force One. It's $5.7 billion. I said, that sounds like a lot of money for a plane.
Is he really going to try to attack? Okay, good. I was like, that would have been dumb of him.
Even the wood grain, you can't tell the difference. I could tell because there was a little nick in one desk that wasn't on the other. So I could say, that's one, and the other one's two. No, it's incredible, actually. But, you know, those planes are like 32 years old, and nobody wanted to make the move and do it because they think, oh, it'll look luxury. In the meantime, they come in from Saudi Arabia and these other countries, brand new. They're like 3 months old, and they blow it away. And, you know, our country should have the latest and the greatest. So they wanted me to do it. It was $5.7 billion. I said, nope, it's too high. They said, why do you say that?
I said, nope, it's too
high. Why are you
high.
saying that? Because Obama agreed to the deal. If they agreed to it, it's too high. So the head of Boeing came in and he said, sir, we have to get 5.7. I said, nope, I'm not doing it. I was supposed to sign it. I said, I'm not doing it, not for 5.7. It has to have a 3 on it. I didn't know what that meant, except I knew it was a hell of a cut, right? Right? Right, Al? So they said, sir, we're not going to do it. We're not going to do it. We'll take off $400 million. That was pretty good. I said, you know, I've been doing this for about 3 minutes, and I got $400 million. Can you imagine the money these people make doing these plans? So I said, no deal. I said, no deal. And it's got to have a 3, got to have a 3. And I held out, and they called up 2 weeks later. I said, what do they want? they were calling. They said, "Sir, we're going to take another 300 million. That's 700 million off." And I haven't done anything. Probably worked for about 2.5 minutes, and I got 700. And I just said no, and I sort of forgot about it. A month and a half later, they called me up. "Sir, we'll do it for 3,999,999,999.99 cents, right?" And I said, "You have yourself a deal."
That sucks. I have the
So
least.
I saved $1.7 billion on that plane. I was very proud of it. Does anybody give me credit for that? No. Does the fake news call me and say, "What a wonderful thing you did"? No. That's okay. That's okay. But your leadership should endorse me, and I will.
This is funny. This is
say
like
a
the
bad
third
thing
time
about
that
them
he's said that
again.
he
They
needs
will have done their
endorsed by
job.
the
They will have
unions.
done a proper job. In fact, if they endorse me, they will have the easiest labor leadership job anywhere in the country. They just have to sit back and watch as our auto industry reignites and booms. That's what's good. They don't even have. Right? I mean, how can they?
What
go
is
with
Green
this guy?
planning on doing here? Is he gonna go? That's what I thought.
I'm looking at these. I always sort of look at stages now. I get a little. Because I say, how the hell do you not find your way? So every once in a while, I'll be in the middle of the speech. I'll look, stairs there, stairs there.
Hey, folks, our fundraising deadline is coming up.
Fuck off.
We need your support to reach our goal.
Get the fuck out of here.
And I say, how the hell does it work that you can't find your way off a stage? How does that work? But he can't. Joe Biden is surrendering our auto industry to China, just like he surrendered our borders to the cartels and he surrendered Afghanistan in the most embarrassing week, day, time period in the history of our country. He surrendered to the Taliban, took the military out first. You don't take the military, you take the military out last. So tell your UAW leadership, no problems with them. But they have to endorse Trump, because if they don't, all they're doing is
Come on,
committing
go
suicide.
into here.
And honestly, you don't want that to happen, because they're committing suicide on the back of your jobs, and you can't let that happen. The Democrats, as they wave the white flag of surrender over your future to other foreign countries, you can't have it done. So if you could speak to Sean, he's listening right now, I'm sure. Sean, endorse Trump, and you can take a nice 2-month vacation, come back, and you guys are going to be better than you ever were. You don't even have to worry. Because the other way, you won't have a vacation, Sean. And in a short period of time, you're not going to have a union. You're not going to have jobs. You're not going to have anything. You have the strongest you've ever had. You're going to do great. You're going to do great. And it's so easy. It's common sense. Again, it's common sense. But unlike them, I will never surrender. I'll never surrender for you. And the American worker never surrenders either. Never. But you need leadership. It's nice to say you never surrender, but you need direction and you need leadership. Crooked Joe puts China first, Mexico first, Ukraine first, Europe first, Asia first, illegal aliens first, environmental lunatics first, puts everyone else first. But he puts America last, he puts our workers last, he puts the UAW last, he puts our industries last, he puts your families last, he puts everything. He does put your children last, yeah. When you think of it, they should be at the top of your list. Thank you very much. I'm going to use that. Do you mind if I use that from now on? Who said that? That was
And attack phase.
He puts your children last. That's going at the top of my list.
Oh, I could have taken out Green. Damn it. Damn it, damn it, damn it.
He puts everything that's good last. Mine is slightly different. I put America first every single time. So let me say to every UAW member and skilled workers all across our nation, Joe Biden, the Democrat Party, and their political cronies, cease to serve your interests a long time ago. They don't care about you. I mean, he came here yesterday. What did he have? 9 people, right? 9. We have 9,000 people outside.
All right, this is Andrew Kraft here. We are at the top of the hour. Just wanted to check in with some of our viewers
Hey,
here.
I wanted to listen to Trump.
President Donald
I
Trump
ain't give a
right
shit
now.
about
He's
you,
been
bro.
Speaking for about 45 minutes there in the Detroit area to many
The
of his
hell's going
supporters,
on?
some of whom are UAW workers there who have been on the picket line. So just wanted to reset at the top of the hour. We're going to continue with this live
Oh, you
coverage
shithead.
of former President Trump's remarks. Let's keep watching.
That you've never even heard of. And just like you're fighting for your rights and your American dream, I'm fighting for my rights and fighting for my freedom against the coordinated, corrupt, very politicized forces of evil. I've never seen anything like it. It's weaponized justice. We have a weaponized justice system.
Yeah,
I want to
for
indict.
real.
Think of this. I want to indict my political opponent. He's beating me. We got to indict him. I think, that works two ways, because when the next one gets in, let's hope that's me. And I'm sure I'd never do a thing like that. I wouldn't do that. I would not do it. But you have an opponent and you say, let's indict him. And because people know me so well, we know each other very well, my ratings and my approval numbers went up. I'm the only person that ever got indicted where my numbers went up. It's the weirdest. That's because you know me. I didn't take a salary. I worked my ass off. And we did a phenomenal job. We did a phenomenal job for this country. But for the first time ever, I never thought they indict their political opponent. And what that does is it sets off a chain of events that's very dangerous in future years. It could happen to them very easily. The reason Crooked Joe and his thugs are trying so hard to stop me is that in my first term, I disrupted all of it. Oh, did I disrupt? That was called major disruption. And in my second term, which is sort of having now, but I don't want the results, right? I don't want the results of this second term. This second term is a disaster for this country. Worst president, think of it, there's never been a president like this. I say that you could take the 5 worst presidents in history, add them up, and he's done a worse job than all of them added up.
For real.
Now I'm changing it. I think I can make it to 10, because nobody, you look at our border, you look at everything, you look at our woke military. I defeated ISIS. Our military was so great. I rebuilt it. But you look at what's happening in this country, it's horrible. But in my second term, we'll finish the job and we'll get rid of the cheaters, the liars, the scammers, and the criminals. They'll lose their grip on power once and for all. So if you want to save your livelihoods and your way of life, then you need to send a message and join the ultimate strike against the globalist class by casting your vote for a gentleman known as Donald J. Trump in the most important election of our lifetime. I believe this will be the most important election in our lifetime. I used to say that in 2016, and I totally meant it. This blows it away. We're going to lose our country. We're going to lose. We've got probably 15 to 18 million people, the real number, pouring into our country. We have a disaster in Ukraine that would have never happened. We have a potential disaster with Taiwan, China, that would have never happened if it happens, but boy, they are circling, I'll tell you. They want it so badly. And they saw what happened in Afghanistan. They saw what happened with the Taliban.
I just got the Afghanistan card. That's funny.
Grossly incompetent. Putin would have never done it.
No.
President Xi would have never done it with me. We talked about things, a lot of things. They would have never done it. They wouldn't have done it for another reason also. In the case of Russia, the oil prices would have been so low that they wouldn't have been able to afford it, because you would have had $40 a barrel oil. And at $40, he could not have prosecuted the war. But at $115, he made a fortune and makes a fortune with the war.
Hopefully
It's
I
up
get
there
a Calvary next
again
time.
now. I don't know if you've been watching. It's getting up there again now. So give me 4 more years, and I will give you the end to this horrible globalism that's killing our country. I'll give you the return of the United States of America as the greatest and strongest industrial nation in the history of the world. Together we will dismantle the corrupt power structure that has feasted on the suffering of the American auto worker and the workers of any kind, not just auto workers, workers of any kind. We will cast from power the financial forces that have turned American cities into ghost towns to build skyscrapers in Beijing, China. We will wield every lever of government to defend you and to hold accountable those who have profited from the betrayal and suffering of the American factory workers. So sad to see. As your 47th President of the United States, I will be your protector, I will be your advocate, and I will be your greatest champion, the greatest champion that you've ever had. On day one, I will terminate Joe Biden's electric vehicle mandate, and I will cancel every job-killing regulation that is crushing American auto workers. I will unleash a thing called American energy, stop the ban on the internal combustion engine, and we will drill, baby, drill, and we will make zero environmental difference. It will have zero environmental difference, zero. In fact, if anything, it's probably cleaner than what they're doing. But it will save your family a yearly fortune and give you a much better way of life. You're losing your way of life. I will then go to every foreign country where we're paying billions and billions of dollars for their military defense, as I was doing before, and tell them that if they do not massively increase their purchases of Ford, Chevys, GMs, and Jeeps, our troops are packing up and we're coming home. You got to buy our products. You got to buy our products. And that's going to be the least of it. And if we can afford to send hundreds of billions of dollars to Ukraine, then we can afford to have an auto industry that pays our workers a good living wage and keeps our workers working. Having a vibrant car industry is far more important than almost anything we can do for a very important thing called national security. We need a rebirth of loyalty in this country. To that end, we will bring back a very beautiful word, protection, financial protection. You're going to be protected financially while we still have the power to do it. You know, there's a run on our currency. They want to take away our currency standards. That's happened. That's the worst thing to happen maybe in our country's history. It'll put us in a much different position. But take a look at what's happening.
Oh, I have all three.
In reality, protectionism never truly.
So then that's 10 plus 2.
Corrupt politicians just stopped protecting American jobs and workers, and they started protecting the jobs and workers in China and Mexico, Germany, South Korea, Indonesia, Thailand, and Vietnam, many other countries too. Under the Trump presidency, patriotic protectionism will be the new American way. We want to be protected. That's what we have our government for. We want protection in many ways, and we're going to stop the crime in our cities, and we're going to stop the crime in our country. And we're not going to be nice about it. We're not going to be nice about it. That means protecting our workers, protecting our wages, protecting our jobs, protecting our industries, protecting our communities, and protecting our great, something you don't hear about very much anymore, a great American dream. We had an American dream. You don't hear about that with this guy. This guy walks up yesterday. Looks like he's going to fall over standing in front of some people. Looks like he's going to fall over. This is not a leader. The whole world is laughing at us. Mm-hmm. They respected your leader. Whether you like your leader or not, they respected your leader. They said, we're not going to mess. We're not going to mess. Upon taking office, I will impose an across-the-board tariff on foreign-made goods. I will also pass the Trump Reciprocal Trade Act. That means that if China or any other country makes us pay a 100 or 200 or 300% tariff or tax, we will make them pay a reciprocal tariff of 100, 200, or 300%. What could be more fair? Right? What could be more fair? I will revoke China's most favored nation. Can you believe they have a most favored nation?
How many does he
have?
have?
They say we are a developing nation. Well, we're a developing nation, too. When you look at our cities, we're developing. We're developing in the wrong way. They are doing the worst job. Democrat mayors, Democrat governors. And we will impose stiff penalties on China and other trade abusers. Foreign auto parts manufacturing will be among our first targets. We're going to bring it home from China and other foreign countries.
All right, I have a plan here.
Scale. That's you. McGee.
Hopefully it works. It's going to be a long shot.
You. And because we want all Americans to win and win big from these policies, we will insist that as tariffs on foreign countries go up, because they tariff us crazily, and then we have these stupid people, some congressmen, some senators, that say, no, sir, we shouldn't tariff them, but they're tariffing us. Doesn't matter, sir, it's free trade. I say, is this guy okay?
I say, is this guy okay?
When those foreign countries tariff us, taxes on American workers, which is really what it is, small businesses and middle-class families, we will be doing the same to them, and you will watch things happen that you won't even believe. For one thing, you're going to bring back jobs at levels. You know, China, they put a big tax on us when we sell a car, a truck, or anything. And they say to the American companies, we don't want your trucks from America. Come over and build a plant over here. So they're building plants all over China. How stupid is it? We should do the same thing. And we started doing the same thing, and we were doing the same thing. I gave you the largest tax cut in the history of our country, larger than the Reagan tax cut.
All right.
And we'll do it again. We'll deliver tax cuts, the likes of which you've never seen before. You will do better, make more money, and have a more secure job than you've ever had before. Best of all, they will be fully paid for by outsourcers and foreign producers who will be paying trillions of dollars into our treasury for the privilege of doing business in the United States of America. Isn't that nice? Going to get rid of a big portion of our deficit, too. We're going to tariff and tax them, and you, the American worker, will be the primary beneficiary. And in conclusion, I don't need to tell anyone in this room what the globalist and trade abusers did to the people of Michigan. You've seen the lives wrecked. You've seen the family destroyed in many cases. The families have been shattered and the communities battered, brutalized, destroyed economically and by crime. But my message to you tonight is that Michigan's abuse under Joe Biden will end, and I will take you to new heights never dreamed of before, never even dreamed of. The Wall Street predators, the Chinese cheaters, and the corrupt politicians have hurt you. I will make you better. Very simple. I will make you better. For years, foreign nations have looted and plundered your hopes, your dreams, and your heritage, and now they're going to pay for what they have stolen and what they have done to you, my friends.
Attack phase. Boom.
We're going to take their money. We're going to take their factories. We're going to rebuild the industrial bedrock of this country like it used to be many, many decades ago. By the time this battle is over, the rusted-out factories will not be here in Michigan. They'll be in Beijing, Shanghai, and other parts of the world. Taking it back. We're taking it back, and it won't be hard. The gleaming new buildings and roaring production lines will be built in Lansing and Flint and Sterling Heights and Grand Rapids and Pontiac, Dearborn, and Detroit. Ladies and gentlemen, I've been preparing my entire life for this battle. We did such a great job 4 years ago. We were unfairly interrupted. Let's be nice about it. We were very unfairly interrupted, but in many ways this is better because we've seen what a bad job they have shown us, what a horrible job they do. And we'll be able to do things that nobody would have thought possible. And people won't be complaining even a little bit, because between crime and all of the jobs that have been stolen from us and all of the factories that have been closing, all of the bad things that have been happening
21.
with Afghanistan and with Ukraine and with everything, people will say, wow, we want these changes to be made. We want these changes to be made very, very quickly. Just 3 years ago, we had a great economy and the strongest borders in our country's history. We had the best, strongest in our history. We were energy independent, soon to be dominant. We had no inflation. We had a rebuilt I rebuilt the entire military, United States military. We gave $80 billion. Think of it, brand new tanks and planes and goggles and 700,000 guns and rifles, 70,000. You make cars? Who has a used car lot with 70,000? And these are nobody. If you have 500 cars, they tell me that's a lot. You have 70,000. And these are armor plated in many cases. These cost millions of dollars apiece. many cases.
And
We gave
attack
them
phase.
70,000. Do you know that Afghanistan is one of the largest sellers of weapons in the world right now? Can you believe it? They're selling all of this stuff that these guys just gave them. How stupid are we? How stupid are we to allow that? We were getting out. I was the one that got it down. We were going to keep Bagram, the air base, because it's right next to where China, forget about Afghanistan, where China makes their missiles, nuclear missiles. It's 1 hour away. We were going to keep that. They ran from it. They ran from it. They left it. They left the lights on. They left the dogs, by the way, for those people that like the dogs. It's a good question. They left the dogs. But we were going to keep that. We were going to do a job, and we were going to be out. We were getting out with real dignity and strength. We weren't going to lose those 13 incredible souls that I met the parents and family the other night. They're incredible people. They're so devastated. They don't talk about the 38 people that were literally no arms, no legs.
All right, now I can take.
And the hundreds of other people that died.
Unless if he trades in his cards,
wouldn't have happened.
I can take.
I spoke to Abdul, the head of the Taliban. We had a rough conversation. I said, listen, Abdul, don't kill any of our people anymore. You kill any of our people, we're going to hit you harder than anybody's ever been hit. And he said, but why do you send me a picture of my home? I said, you'll have to figure that out. You'll have to figure that one out.
why do you send me a picture of my home?
For 18 months, not one soldier was killed in our country. They were sniping them and killing them. And he's still there. He's in charge. Can you imagine the feeling when they said, Abdul, the Americans have left. The soldiers are gone. He said, no, they would never do that. Only stupid people would do that. No, the soldiers have gone. Before we took our people out, we have hundreds of people, maybe thousands, but we have hundreds of people that are American citizens that are still there. We took the soldiers out first. That was the problem. And they should have used Bagram as their place because you had tremendous area. It wouldn't have been that disaster that you witnessed with the planes going up. Remember when Biden said, we'll never have a Vietnam with the helicopters going up? Well, this was worse. This was a plane going up with people hanging all over the plane and falling from 3,000 feet in the sky. That's 3 times the height of the Empire State Building, by the way. Russia was not going into Ukraine. China was not going into Taiwan. We had our enemies in full retreat. They respected us all over the world. We were respected. Now we're laughed at as a country. And now we're coming back to do it all over again. And I promise you this, with me as your president, our opponents will lose and our American workers will be the biggest winner of them all. So with your help and with your vote, we will expel the globalists from our government. We will evict crooked Joe Biden from the White House. We will put America and our workers first. We're going to put them first.
Nice.
And we will do something that's very, very special that I've been saying for a long time, and we had it going at a level that nobody ever thought possible. We will make America great again. So thank you. God bless you, Michigan, and God bless you, auto workers, and God bless America. God bless everybody in this room. Thank you all very much. So nice. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much.
That was pretty good.
All right, so
that was
there
pretty
you
good.
have it. Former President Donald
He
Trump,
he did pretty
making
good
his
with that
re-election
speech.
pitch
I really liked what he
there
was
in
saying.
Michigan tonight.
All right.
You heard him talk
here.
about the UAW strike, talk about electric vehicle manufacturing as well. Now remember, he won Michigan once. Back in 2016, he lost Michigan. Last cycle in 2020, he wants to be president again. And he wants the UAW's endorsement. He said
That was funny. He said
times.
that so many
He
times.
says Sean Fain, the UAW president, needs to endorse. He called Fain a good guy. He says, get your union leaders to endorse me. It's as explicit as you can get there. We have another shot there. Let's take that live of Trump there, greeting some of his supporters. You see some of the signs there. Auto workers for Trump, union members for Trump. Now, this is Macomb County. This is Trump country in a state that has trended and gone solidly blue, especially back last year when the midterms. So the state legislature in Michigan the governor's mansion in Michigan, all solidly blue right now. That was the first time in 50 years. But if Trump is the nominee, he wants to win it back, and that was the pitch tonight. So, obviously, split screen. You have the second RNC GOP primary debate airing right now on the Fox Business Network and the Fox News Channel. Of course, not here on Live Now. But Trump mentioned it very briefly. Don't know if you caught that. He said it's a jobs debate, kind of a tongue-in-cheek notion that he thinks those contenders on the debate stage tonight will eventually work for him in a second Trump administration. That's kind of what he was alluding to there. All right, we're going to step away from this shot. I'm Andrew Kraft. Thanks so much for being with us here on Live Now from Fox. But time and time again, you heard Donald Trump there go after electric vehicles. Now, he kind of hedged a bit. He said, you know, he didn't completely hate electric vehicles, but he wasn't that favorable to them. He said the Biden administration is forcing consumers to go all electric there. And so that is one of the main contentions and the main sticking points in these UAW negotiations. Now, remember, it takes less people to assemble an electric car, and an electric car has less parts than a car with an internal combustion engine. You heard there, he said, the Biden administration wants to get rid of the internal combustion engine altogether. That was a big applause line. But you heard him talk about key international topics, domestic issues like the economy, like the border, like immigration there.
All right, cancel. Here we go. About to win this. And then we're going to talk about Vice trying to cancel Tim Ballard. So end attack phase. I mean, I already won. Why are... Unless if there's... What's going on? Why... What the fuck is going on here? Do I have to get a certain amount in each one? This is just taking way too long now. I don't know how many I have to get into each one. I didn't read what the rules were on this. Here we go. This is just annoying. It's like I already won. Why do I have to do this? I guess I can do this after we get started with the Tim Ballard stuff. So I guess the Vice media was trying to cancel the guy who Sound of Freedom is based off of, and they say that he had a bunch of like sexual misconduct towards women. They said that he like took showers with women who he was working with, but they were supposed to be like acting as wife and husband, or like girlfriend and boyfriend, when they were trying to catch these sex traffickers. So obviously you're going to act like you are married. But let's see what he has to say about this.
No.
And then actually he did get condemned from his own church, the LDS church, the Mormons. They condemned him,
Leo,
which is just crazy.
How close am I to President M. Russell Ballard? I didn't stage this. How do you know this?
And they did this right after he announced his candidacy for senator of Utah, which is just like
I offered him a wheelchair.
Crazy.
He said to me, "You take the wheelchair."
They're afraid of him. I can't really hear what he's saying.
President Ballard is like a grandfather to me. He came to me in, I don't know, 2012, 2011. And he told me that he appreciates all the things I'm doing and he wants to help me do it. Never in my life, never have I used his name to raise money, to make some business deal. What business deal? I don't have business. It's never happened. But all the press in Utah is claiming that some church representative is saying that I can't get confirmation whether it's true or not true, if it was authorized or not. I don't know. So this is breaking up my family like you can't believe. My children are being harassed right now because everybody believes that the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints that I've defended for how many years? I've written how many books? Made how much money?
What am I supposed to do here?
On my hypothesis books. And nobody can tell me. Guess what? Do you think I called my stake president? I said, "Do you know about this?" No idea. I don't believe the church did this. I truly don't. Me either. Can you imagine that the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints?
Depression.
Huh.
Guess what? I'm going to therapy.
I don't really know.
Oh.
Would publicly condemn one of its members?
No.
Without talking to the bishop, the stake president? My stake president had no idea.
No.
Is that possible? I have never used Elder Ballard's name, ever. I've never traded on his name to ask for anything. I've never had any business dealings with him. He's like a grandfather to me, and Leo can testify. He's a grandfather. He asked me to take him on this tour. President M. Russell Ballard asked me to take him on this tour. I didn't. It wasn't my idea. You were here, Coop. I was here. What? Tell me what you experienced. By the way, if anybody wants to share this with any news outlet, do it.
I want this so that I can get a win on my...
Something evil is going on.
Otherwise, I would just quit this.
He loved the tour. Explain to this group my relationship with President Ballard.
He loved the concept of the American Covenant. He loved the store. He encouraged you to
What
do
the
it.
fuck am I supposed to do here?
Good. And I think they encourage church members to do good things of their own accord. And he encouraged you to do this.
Explain. Who set you apart? Who set you apart?
Bro, this is just annoying the piss out of me.
There's a place in the house.
And what did he set you apart to do?
Be a missionary for the Church of Jesus Christ.
President Ballard sent, he invited my son.
What am I missing?
You guys you realize you're participating in history right now? I want you to understand that. Three days before that horrible story launched,
This is just annoying.
it was leaked to the press that I was going to run for U.S. Senate. Do you think
I'm just going to go from this
3
one.
days later, you know Vice magazine? Vice? Do you think the church would make a statement to Vice? I can't imagine. Vice magazine has done anti-Mormon stories that you can't believe. Vice magazine has promoted.
Bro, if I put
the
one on
concept
each
that
one of these,
pedophiles should be called minor attracted persons.
yeah, Vice is such a fucking
Vice magazine
sicko kind of
hit piece of
like
the church. Maybe
company, bro.
I can't imagine.
Which is pretty fucking shitty because it was started by Gavin McInnes, but they kicked him out.
I can't imagine. I can't confirm it.
I really like Gavin McInnes.
But I can tell you this, that never, ever have I utilized my friendship with President M. Russell Ballard to raise money. I promise you that. This guy's with me. I can't go anywhere without him. I'm serious. My wife told me I can't go anywhere. Have I ever used the name of President M. Russell Ballard?
No.
To raise money?
I don't want to quit and then get the...
The truth is, he was the one who revealed our relationship in a speech, in a talk he gave here in Boston. I think it was in October 5th, 19th.
Yes.
And he talked about the American Covenant. He talked about this tour, the very tour you're on. Leo can confirm our friendship. I didn't post about it, talk about it. And somebody is trying to exploit this relationship. Never happened. I have never. Frankly, it would be a horrible donation pitch. It would hurt me more than it would help me.
This is just annoying the fuck out of me.
I don't want to be attached.
But I don't want to quit and then lose my...
It'll hurt me. Never did it. But somebody decided to make up this story. My children are being horrified. My children. My wife has lived a life of a widow. For the last 20 years. I have missed the majority of my children's sports.
That is sad that he's hasn't been
The undeniable
around.
fact is this, that our efforts have rescued over 7,000 women and children. It is true, sir.
True.
That doesn't come easy. And what do I get from all that sacrifice? I get hate. I'm the bad guy in the story. I'm the bad guy in the story that rescued over 7,000 women and children. Can you help me understand that? How can I be the bad guy here? I'm not perfect. I'm as human as anybody. But how is it that my decisions and my actions, which led to the rescue of over 7,000 women and children. And the arrest and imprisonment of over 5,000.
Holy shit, 5,000 traffickers.
How I'm the bad guy in that story. How is it possible? I pray to God the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints wasn't part of this. I don't know yet. I don't know. I can tell you this much. My stake president knew nothing about it. My bishop knew nothing about it. If the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints wants to condemn me publicly before the world, in the moment that I'm trending, and please, don't
I wonder what he's gonna what he's gonna do with his faith if he's condemned by his church.
In the United States, July 4th.
All right, let's watch
Utah's
this.
first TV station, ABC4 News, celebrates 75 years.
Welcome to ABC4 News at 10. I'm Sarah Murphy.
And I'm Emily Flores. We thank you for joining us. Our top story tonight, the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints releasing a statement denying their association with the former CEO of Operation Underground Railroad, Tim Ballard.
Now, this comes after Ballard's claims that the church leader, M. Russell Ballard, were close friends, them together, and they counseled with each other regarding Operation Underground Railroad missions. Now, Operation Underground Railroad, or OUR, is a nonprofit that says they rescue victims of child trafficking. Now, the church denied Ballard's claims in a statement today, saying they never endorsed, supported, or represented Tim Ballard or any projects associated with him. They also say Tim Ballard betrayed M. Russell Ballard's friendship and used his name for his own financial and personal interests. Now, Tim Ballard has not commented.
Bro, this is fucked.
He worked as the CEO of Operation Underground Railroad until earlier this year.
Showing up on the first page of Google might not be the best for everyone.
From Utah's first TV station, ABC4 News celebrates 75 years.
Good evening, I'm Emily Flores.
And I'm Jillian Smuckler. We begin this hour with sexual harassment accusations against a Utah man, all dedicated to ending child sex trafficking. Now, an attorney representing a group of women are now speaking out against Tim Ballard, the former CEO of Operation Underground Railroad. Take a look.
The behavior of Tim Ballard crossed the line, and these women cannot remain silent.
Powerful words from the attorney representing former employees and contractors who worked closely with Ballard for Operation Underground Railroad.
Our involvement with Operation Underground Railroad was rooted in our commitment to fighting against human trafficking. But while engaging in that noble cause, we were subjected to sexual harassment, spiritual manipulation, grooming, and sexual misconduct.
On the steps of the state capitol today, attorney Suzette Rasmussen shared statements from several women who claim they were victims of Ballard, who, at the time,
all the women
was the
are
boss.
Anonymous.
While these women are choosing to remain anonymous,
Bro, this is crazy
she says
how
they felt it was important
there's
to
just
share
so many
their stories,
people who are speaking out against
especially
all
since
this
Ballard
shit,
has
and then-
denied
and
those
then
claims.
We acknowledge the
it comes
risks
out like a few days
involved in
later
challenging someone
that-
as prominent as Tim Ballard.
It just comes out, oh, yeah.
We will
they're-
reveal our stories in our own time and
we're
in our
abusing
own
women
way
or some shit,
and on
but
our
it's-
own terms.
they never actually
But for
come
now,
out.
we
It's
choose to remain anonymous.
all anonymous.
Rasmussen released these statements
And then
after Vice News
it just
reported that
ruins these
Ballard
people's
allegedly
lives.
asked women to act as his wife to fool traffickers on undercover missions.
like, if they actually
and allegedly coerce them into sharing a bed
get
or even
convicted of
showering
something, then I
together.
understand why
That
it
we
ruined their
value
lives,
our
but
privacy
they don't
as we work to rebuild our lives.
do anything.
We
They just
also
make all
feel a
these crazy
responsibility
claims.
to speak out
And then-
and state unequivocally that these allegations are true.
But she refused to comment on specifics, including how many women she's representing.
I can't comment specifically, but I will say that it's several women that are involved in the group.
When the alleged behavior happened,
complaints have been filed, and Statements were known for several months.
And whether they plan to file a lawsuit against Ballard.
I can't comment on the next steps, but more details may be coming.
Rasmussen says these women are focused on moving forward with their lives following these bombshell accusations.
These are real women whose lives were affected through their marriages, through their families, and they're working to rebuild from here and heal.
But she says that doesn't take away from sharing the truth of what really happened.
They felt it was important enough that even with everything going on, they felt that they needed others to know, again, the truth so that they can protect themselves and also protect other women from this happening to them.
Now, Operation Underground Railroad is responding to today's statement, saying Ballard left the organization after an investigation into his alleged behavior. But it didn't specify exactly what that behavior was.
OUR released a statement to ABC4 News writing this, quote, Operation Underground Railroad received an allegation of behavior that violated company policy by then CEO Tim Ballard. The organization immediately placed Mr. Ballard on administrative leave and launched an independent external investigation of the allegation. Well, at the conclusion of the investigation, as previously stated by OUR, Mr. Ballard resigned.
And we did reach out to Ballard for comment on the latest allegations against him, and so far he hasn't responded. But just last week, he did release a lengthy statement through his new anti-trafficking organization called the Spear Fund, writing, quote, "They continue to lie and attempt to destroy my good name and defame my character, and they will never stop."
Watch live sports with no hidden fees or
Tim Ballard departure from Operation Underground Railroad following sexual misconduct investigation. Let's listen to the article. I guess I didn't even know that you could do this.
If you choose to accept it, is this.
Let's go! Let's go!
Show up on day one.
Tim Ballard's departure from Operation Underground Railroad followed sexual misconduct investigation.
I didn't even know I could do this. This is way better.
Tim Ballard's exit from Operation Underground Railroad earlier this year followed an investigation into claims of sexual misconduct involving 7 women, according to sources with direct knowledge of the organization. Sources familiar with the situation said that the self-styled anti-slavery activist, who appears to be preparing for a Senate run, invited women to act as his wife on undercover overseas missions ostensibly aimed at
obviously he would do that.
He would then allegedly coerce those women into sharing a bed or showering together, claiming that it was necessary.
I heard him talk about that.
Ballard, who was played by Jim Caviezel in the hit film Sound of Freedom, is said to have sent at least one woman a photo of himself in his underwear, festooned with fake tattoos, and to have asked another how far she was willing to go.
Okay, he explained the fake tattoos photo, and he said that it was one of his, the people who was working with him sent it to another woman who was the person who made his fake tattoos, because he was undercover and he needed to have the same fake tattoos as what they were before. So she sent her a picture of him in his underwear with the tattoos so that she could redo them.
In the words of a source, to save children. These sources requested anonymity because they fear retaliation. The total number of women involved is believed to be higher than 7, as that would only account for employees, not contractors or volunteers. One source close to ours has detailed knowledge of Ballard making sexual advances to a volunteer using methods similar to those he allegedly used with our employees. Those methods are also consistent with his conduct toward another former volunteer who spoke to Vice News. In response to a detailed request for comment, a spokesperson for Operation Underground Railroad told Vice News. The information from the sources with direct knowledge of our corroborates an anonymous letter that's been circulating in the Utah philanthropic community for the past several months, which accuses Ballard of sexual harassment. Vice News first reported on the letter in July. The journalist Lynn Packer published it in full on Sunday. Several weeks ago, our employee who accompanied Tim on an undercover operation filed a sexual harassment complaint against him with ours HR department. The letter, which was sent this summer to donors to anti-trafficking causes, reads. This resulted in an extensive internal investigation into Tim and his individual operational tactics and led to more women speaking up as part of the investigation process.
But
It was
none of them
ultimately
have come
revealed through
out.
disturbingly
It
specific
just
and
says that
parallel
they're
accounts that Tim has been deceitfully
that they're
and
anonymous.
extensively grooming and manipulating multiple women for the past few years with the ultimate intent of coercing them to participate in sexual acts with him, under the premise of going where it takes and doing whatever it takes to save a child. The letter further said that ours board and lawyers had made agreements preventing executives from discussing the circumstances of Ballard's exit from the organization he founded, making it virtually impossible for them to defend the organization against Tim's false narratives. The author or authors of the letter did not respond to requests for comment. And our spokesperson did not dispute what was in the letter when asked about it by Vice News in July, or respond further when told that reporters could only take this as confirmation of its accuracy. Women believed to be at the center of the investigation have not responded to requests for comment, or have declined to comment. People who know them say they fear retaliation and the effect scandal could have on our as it seeks to move on without Ballard, whom sources say is currently trying to work his way back into the organization. Ballard did not respond to requests for comment submitted through his personal website, that of his new organization, the Spear Fund, and through a spokesperson whom our previously told Vice News is his personal representative. Ballard, an ally of Donald Trump, he held an appointed post on a public-private
that's
anti-trafficking
another reason
council
why
in the
they're
Trump
probably going
administration,
after him.
and recently hosted the former president on his podcast, has said he's strongly considering a run for the Senate seat set to be vacated by Mitt Romney. Speculation in the LDS community indicates that he's planning to
Yes,
announce
probably
his bid
because
on
he's
October 10th.
also going
Last week,
for
a
Mitt
spokesperson
Romney's
for the Church
seat.
of Jesus Christ of
And
Latter-day
Mitt
Saints
Romney
issued a
is part
statement
of
to
the
Vice News that
establishment.
contained a pointed rebuke of
And he
Ballard.
would definitely
The
beat
statement
out
accused
Mitt
Ballard of
Romney.
inappropriately using the name of a church elder, President M. Russell Ballard. The two are not related, despite sharing a last name, for Tim Ballard's personal advantage and activity regarded as morally unacceptable. The church did not specify in its statement what activity it regarded as morally unacceptable. Over the weekend, Ballard responded to Vice News, reporting by giving an impassioned speech to a small crowd in Boston in which he said, "It's not true, nothing you hear is true." He also said he outright did not believe that the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints condemned him in a statement issued to Vice News, something that did in fact happen, as has been confirmed by multiple Utah news outlets. Contact the reporters at
I don't believe any
anna.merlin
of
at
this shit.
vice.com or tim.marchman at vice.com. For extra security, download the Signal app to a non-work device and text us there at 267-713-9832.
Wireless headphones. That'll be $200.
I'll use my Capital One Quicksilver card.
Now that's a hit. You used the Capital One Quicksilver card, which makes you the hero of every purchase. With Quicksilver, you earn unlimited 1.5%
Assassination
cashback
of my
on
character.
every purchase
Let's go.
everywhere.
I
Back
wanted
up and
running
pause
music,
this.
but unlimited 1.5% cashback is pretty heroic.
Because I didn't read the update. In a statement dated September 18th, 2023, and issued through Spear Fund, Tim Ballard denied sexual misconduct allegations, calling them baseless. His full statement is below. As with all of the assaults on my character and integrity over many years, the last tabloid-driven sexual allegations are false. They are baseless, designed to destroy me and the movement we have built to end the trafficking and exploitation of vulnerable children. During my time at OUR, I designed strict guidelines for myself and our operators in the field. Sexual conduct was prohibited, and I led by example, giving our meticulous attention to its issue. Any suggestion of inappropriate sexual conduct is categorically false. The Spear Fund strongly encouraged journalists to watch this recent episode of highly respected Marcelo Nicholas podcast, which offers specific conduct around the child rescue operation process. Let's watch that. What? Oh. And the video is taken down from YouTube. What the fuck, bro? This is crazy. Huh. I wonder where you can find this podcast. I'll have to find it, and then we can listen to it tomorrow or something. Let's look this up. Copy. This is fucking insane. September. Huh. There's a big gap in between the podcast dates too. I bet that it was in there. And it's taken down there too. What the fuck? I wonder if we can go to his actual site. Episodes. Let's see if there's one that was posted. Season 2. Does it show the dates on here? All right, let's go back. It says what episodes those are. Oh, whoops. Wrong one. Oh no, there's not one missing in between there. They just took... I wonder which episode that was that he linked. It's probably this one. This one here? I would assume, yeah. I can't believe that got taken down from YouTube, though. It's 27 minutes. I wonder if this is going to be copyrighted.
When you have a busy day ahead, try 15 minutes. Plus, you'll have access.
Who are being trafficked, who are enslaved. And this is an example of this case, and we're just barely able to talk about it because enough time has passed and things have closed out. So we got intel. That there were Latin American girls that were being trafficked out of this bar. It was a club in Port-au-Prince, Haiti. And so we start gathering intel, working with the cops. The Haitian police are very involved, very helpful. Basically what happened was, rewinding the clock, they're Venezuelan girls. Venezuela being a completely collapsed state.
I guess if you guys want to go watch this podcast, I don't really want to watch it just in case if YouTube is going to take, if YouTube takes it down because I'm watching it. Huh. All right, let's scroll through here, see what. Sound of Freeman accused of sexual misconduct. Typical damn playbook. They're thinking about running it. Let's see this. Tim Ballard stepped down from his organization, Underground Railroad, following investigation into claim of sexual misconduct involving 7 women. Anonymous sources told Vice. Ballard allegedly invited women to act as his wife on undercover overseas missions aimed to recruiting victims of sexual trafficking, and would then allegedly coerce those women into sharing a bed or showering together, claiming that it was necessary to fool the trackers. I mean, I could see having to do that, though. Vice cited sources familiar with the situation. Operation Underground Railroad told the outlet that it retained an independent law firm to conduct a comprehensive investigation of all the relevant allegations, adding that the investigation is ongoing. Ballard, who didn't respond to Vice requests for comment, is rumored to be weighing a Utah Senate run, presumably for the seat to be vacated by Senator Mitt Romney. While Romney is an anti-Trump Republican, Ballard has emerged as something of a Trump ally, recently featuring the former president on his podcast. Yeah, no, that's a lot of probably why they are going after him. Ballard reportedly appeared at a public event over the weekend where he seemed to deny the accusations from Vice. "It's not true. Nothing you hear is true," he said. Vice also reported an anonymous letter that he has apparently been circulating in the Utah philanthropist community for the past several months, which accused Ballard of sexual harassment and repeats some of the other allegations. Yeah, no, it's crazy because, like, look at this too. This is crazy to me. The Sound of Freedom, if you look up Sound of Freedom, Rotten Tomatoes, Sound of Freedom. I wonder if Rotten Tomatoes is just going to be here, if I'm going to have to. I'm going to have to type in Rotten Tomatoes. Rotten Tomatoes. Sound of Freedom. Look at this. So it's rotten at 57%, and the audience score is 99%. These fucking people right here are just disgusting. They're a bunch of fucking pedophiles, bro. Also, if you guys haven't seen Sound of Freedom, you should definitely go watch it. It's really good. I thought that it was going to probably be cheesy or something, but no, it was a really good movie, and it didn't feel like it was as long as what it was. All right. Let's go through here. Woman who joined said Ballard asked them to pose as his wife, girlfriend, and then sleep in his bed. That was part of the Vice Utah. Let's watch a video on like the history of Vice Media. I don't know if there is one, but I bet that there is. The history of Vice. I wonder if that's going to be like just... Oh, there we go. We can watch this one. Let's see what this one is.
My name's Daryl Dixon. I went out looking for something.
On the 1st of May 2023, the New York Times published an article titled, "Vice is said to be headed for bankruptcy." According to that article, this information was leaked by, quote, 3 people familiar with the matter who weren't authorized to discuss the potential bankruptcy on record. Exactly 2 weeks after the New York Times report, the digital news media giant would indeed file for bankruptcy. Additional reporting was that the once multi-billion-dollar company had spent the past few months frantically trying to find money to keep the lights on, mostly in the form of an outright sale of the business. So let's lay out the facts. At one point, Vice promised $1 billion in annual revenue and attracted investment from the likes of Disney and HBO. Within 5 years, they're bankrupt, their cultural and social reputation is at an all-time low, and they have no idea how to make a dollar. But why? Vice was founded in 1994 in Quebec's largest city of Montreal. The trio of Sarouche Alvin, Galvin McInnes, and Shane Smith, with the help of government funding, propped up the original company. It was, in their words, a counterculture magazine that was established to provide work and community service. Over time, the trio would go on to break ties with their initial publisher, Alex Laurent, whom they bought out of the magazine before changing the name to Vice. They were then acquired by Richard Savinsky, a Canadian millionaire who then moved its operation to New York City, where he'd opened a few retail stores. It wasn't long before the trio ended up regaining ownership once again of the magazine at the end of the dot-com bubble. Essentially, they managed to monkey bar their way through multiple owners, gaining funding and experience as they went. And by 2007, they were ready to stand on their own and produce the content that no one else was. In their words, they wanted to cover the things which we are supposed to be ashamed of. They wanted to produce provocative, edgy, and shocking content, which is exactly what they did. Vice quickly built a reputation. The edgy counterculture news source. Documentaries were being made that were predominantly popular among millennials and went completely against the grain of mainstream coverage on political or social topics. This is exactly why Vice was seeing success. They were serving an ignored audience, giving them untold stories or unrecognized struggles with different perspectives and validation about their own life and feelings,
this one right there.
which ironically will play a factor later in why Vice eventually went to shit. At the time, however, the direction of Vice was causing conflict amongst their leadership. They called it creative differences, but eventually Gavin McInnes, one of the 3 founders, cut ties with the company and moved on. By 2012, Vice had reached 800 worldwide employees, 3,500 freelancers, and things were looking pretty good for them. The company's reputation of unconventional journalism had started paying dividends. They managed to attract the attention of investors like 21st Century Fox, who made an initial investment of $70 million for just a 5% stake in the company in 2013. At this time, Vice was allegedly valued at $1.4 billion. By the end of that same year, they'd managed to open offices in 34 countries worldwide, and were pumping out content that was seeing widespread praise and accolades. Things were looking great for the new kid on the block, and it was only up from here. In 2014, the company published what would become one of its most famous documentary series, titled The Islamic State, a dangerous project that saw one of the Vice journalists live among ISIS for 3 weeks. This, as with everything Vice touched during the early 2010s, turned to absolute gold. Investors were literally falling over themselves to get a seat at the table, frothing at the mouth to get a slice of the Vice pie. The company closed 2 new investment deals for $250 million from Technology Crossover Ventures and A&E Television Networks Group. This cost them 20% of the Vice business in exchange, and that wasn't all, because Disney was next in line, where they handed over a cool $400 million for just a 10% stake in the company. Just 2 years after that, Vice launched a television channel that offered news and lifestyle programs. That same year, they announced they planned to expand the broadcast network to 51 different territories, and all of this led to a crazy high valuation for a modern media business that was still pretty fresh, $5.7 billion. On the surface, Vice appeared to be doing great and was set to overtake some other mainstream media outlets, despite being considered fringe. But all of these investments could not come without a price, and how could they make a return on those investments? While Vice during this time was still making great content and attracting a mostly younger audience from across the globe, they were running headfirst into the wall of monetization. To quote one analyst, Vice had a pitch, "We know how to engage young people," but they never found a way to turn that pitch into a business. You see, Vice had made a grave miscalculation in their business plan. Unlike legacy media, which includes the likes of Fox and HBO, which have several ways to make money, Vice was what some would call a one-trick pony. Despite their reach, the sort of content they produced was oftentimes not family-friendly, in fact most of the time, and it was audience inappropriate, which I can tell you as a YouTuber is not a good business model. If advertisers wouldn't want their product shown next to your content is then not going to earn money. Vice's documentaries, despite seeing millions, tens of millions of views, were not earning a substantial return. And everybody knows that websites running ads as well, limited ads in their case, is not going to earn anywhere near as much as Vice would need to continue the business. If this was a small team still, a small company, they would likely not only to be able to sustain this model, but also thrive. For thousands of employees, over 30 physical offices, and all the overhead that comes with, absolutely not even close. Vice was now between a rock and a hard place. They built their brand on edgy content, which is a double-edged sword. They were popular.
Vice actually was really cool back in the day. I actually really liked watching Vice back in the day, but now it's just a bunch of
due to the content
propaganda
to gain
and
such
bullshit.
Popularity. Vice was also
Just
mistaken to think that their company
bullshit,
would scale in a way that's similar to tech giants like Facebook and YouTube. This was simply far-fetched. YouTube is a platform. Facebook is a platform. Almost all the Vice business was built and hosted on other people's platforms such as YouTube and Facebook. This made the company an even riskier investment and entirely reliant on these businesses and their monetization guidelines. After all, a simple tweak to the algorithm, demonetizing the channel entirely, or any number of other issues could send a massive portion of Vice's business to the abyss, never to return. Secondly, unlike tech platforms that would scale without hiring more employees due to the actual technology, journalism is a totally different business. In order to keep your audience engaged, to tell more stories, you need to keep making content, which means more employees, more resources for those employees, and that means more and more money. They had a niche audience that, while large, couldn't grow without doing one of two things. Heading more towards the center of coverage, essentially becoming safer and also able to sell ads due to that, or dumping exponential resources into the pot in the hopes they continue to reach more people over time, and then somehow monetize those people. For a while, they decided for option 2, to not compromise on what they were doing, and with such a method, they needed a way to monetize their current audience directly, which, as we all know, getting people to pay for a product that they've known as free the entire time is an almost impossible task. With limited advertiser dollars and no way to directly monetize these viewers, Vice had little choice but to compromise on their business, and once you do that, it's the beginning of the end, whether you know it or not. If you just start out as something, people know what to expect, but when you change completely, people will feel betrayed, inevitably. Vice had become the go-to place for uncensored journalism. They produced on-the-ground content featuring topics that the mainstream media would not talk about, or with perspectives they wouldn't or couldn't share. Stories from places you might never visit, a reality of life for people you could never know. Wild, weird, shocking, gritty, they had a bit of everything. Like this video in which a Vice journalist breaks laws in front of British police to see their reaction, and this one where Ryan Duffy goes to Colombia looking for a drug which they claim to be so potent would strip one of their own free will. They had numerous videos covering wars with a human perspective on the ground with real people on both sides, and this is the type of content that Vice's audience would eagerly tune in for. It's what set them apart from everything else out there. According to one article, quote,
If you live in Montana, you could lower your electric bill to less than $30 a month. How?
there was really no other game in town in terms of this type of reporting with anywhere near the reach that Vice had. The outlet was at its best when it produced these independent, on-the-ground, mostly uncensored documentaries about the goings-on in the furthest outposts of the world. However, all of that was now changing due to Vice's accepting of investments from mainstream corporations. Vice was no longer an independent outlet with no master. Most of its investments was from Hollywood giants like Disney and 21st Century Fox. While they were minority stakes, meaning they had no right to overrule the decision-making, They were the only ones contributing substantial money to keep the lights on, which gave their ideas the ultimate power. These companies are well known for also shoveling propaganda down their audience's throats, and doing so for profit, selling the news instead of telling it. The founders of Vice had, in essence, lost control of the ship, or more accurately, given it up in order to grow the ship's ability to traverse the open ocean, only to find that they were now stuck ashore. It seemed the number one imperative before was to make good content that their audience wanted. But now it was to make money. This is a conundrum that almost all digital media companies face. How do you monetize an audience that is consuming your product for free, even if that product is good? Essentially what they turn to is the way everyone does. Pandering to advertisers, more fluff pieces with clickbait titles, covering topics they wouldn't have been seen dead covering in years gone by. Vice was still publishing the hard-hitting, edgy content that got them to where they were today, but they were also publishing more and more absolute garbage. This was to the point that a lot of their audience didn't even know the hard-hitting journalism was still being made. The question of right or wrong for this opinion is irrelevant, because perception is really the only thing that matters. The opinion was that Vice was becoming exactly what their audience hated, exactly what they didn't want them to become and what they said they wouldn't. They were driving away the eyeballs that they couldn't even monetize in order to sell ads to less and less people. If you go on their front page now, you will be faced with topics that Vice viewers and readers would have no interest in. In fact, I can't see an audience who would. This is a multi-year trend that has continued, and while Vice has still produced good work, it's mostly lost amidst the weeds of easy to create, cheap and desperate content. But content was only part of the problem. Among the problems it faced, Vice had become famous for its toxic work culture. In an article published by the New York Times, a woman said a co-worker suddenly took her hand and placed it on his crotch. These incidents were far from a rare occurrence. Many people started to come out during a New York Times investigation. On 2 separate occasions, women were forced into sexual relationships because the fear of losing their jobs. These are of course just a few of the many examples of incidents like this that were alleged against Vice Media. Not just that, but the hours were said to be incredibly long,
and
the pay was incredibly short, and it was a chaotic environment. There was even rumours that they had some kind of rule going around of the 21s. Hire 22-year-olds, pay them $22,000 a year, and work them 22 hours a day. While of course hyperbole wasn't even really that far from the truth. Still though, working for Vice Media was a badge of honour for many journalists who valued work over everything else, and people will put up with any number of issues if they truly believe in what they're doing. Even during this time, Vice was seen as one of the bastions of journalism if you were allowed to do what you actually wanted to do. However, once these dominoes started to fall, seldom can they be stopped. And I'm going to be real with you, of course, the corporate overlords of Vice didn't care about the toxic work culture of the company. Why would they? Corporations care about one thing, and that's money, not people. What they cared about was perception and how that would impact profitability in the future. At this stage, Vice was a lemon that a lot of them had bought in for hundreds of millions of dollars. Vice a few years ago had predicted revenue of $1 billion, and they were missing it by over a third. They were now embroiled in public scandals which had not been factored into that model for the next year, and deals were being cancelled behind closed doors. Meanwhile, the public perception was absolutely tanking. What they had on their hands now was a media company that was too edgy for one side of the political aisle and being called woke by the other side. Their once primary appeal audience was now aging out, and they were getting served content by independent creators on YouTube instead. Essentially, they were losing their audience, struggling to capture the next generation, couldn't monetize what they had left without further diminishing their reputation, and was losing talent to higher paying positions with less hours, and that is essentially a terminal situation for any business. As of 2023, Vice filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy, and as a result, their lenders agreed to purchase the company. These lenders consist of Fortress Investment Group, Soros Fund Management, and Monroe Capital, for a total of $225 million. That is of course a small fraction of what they were valued at just 6 years ago at $5.7 billion, and now the business is owned entirely by for-profit businesses who will continue to sell the news while masquerading as the once respected publication of Vice. When courting new hires, the founders used to ask, "Do you want to change the world with us?" And for a while, maybe that's what they were doing in a small way. But now there is little to separate them from other mainstream news companies. Vice could have been successful had they been happy to remain a medium-sized company in control of their destiny and working on cashing in their users' respect. Instead, they wanted to grow to the size of other giants in media and sold their entire identity to do so. While some documentaries are still released that are good, whatever remains of the business is now going to continue to diminish until the once respected and appreciated Vice is forgotten forever.
Alright. Let's watch this Gavin McInnes video and then I'm gonna go to bed. And then I'm gonna go get ready for bed and stuff. This video's funny. If it's the one that I remember. It was so long ago when I watched this.
They said it would be a miracle if she was born walking. And I feel like that's not what we're about. We're about hope and we're about believing in her. And we think she'll be able to walk today. She's gonna walk out of this hospital, I guarantee you that.
Here you are, first day. Let's go. Let's go, come on.
I love how it's like
you can do it.
Full, like
come
not
on.
a full, but like definitely
Sophie,
not a newborn.
you can do this. Please. Come to mama. Come on. Come on.
We're gonna give up on her walking out of the hospital, but we're not giving up on her walking today or this week or at least before what the doctors say. After she was born, the doctor said she wouldn't walk for at least a year. I tried to get more information out of them, but they shrugged their shoulders and walked off like it wasn't worth discussing. This was common with everyone we spoke to in the medical community. The general consensus was, this is normal. Get back to us if she's not walking in a year and a half.
He puts her in a tiny fucking wheelchair.
I really feel like this pessimism of this hospital saying it's going to be a year is like almost anti-miracle. It's like they hate miracles. And they don't know that they're looking at one right now.
We tried everything. We tried physical therapy. I would pump her legs in a running motion, trying to trigger some kind of walking instinct in her brain. Walk. Walk. We brought her to almost every pediatrician in town. Some of them didn't even want to speak to us.
That's pretty normal for children.
See, you're just another one of these f***ing naysayers. I want to get her walking within the next 4 months. She's going to walk at 6 months.
That's really not possible.
Well, I'm talking to the wrong person here. This is a waste of my time. Here, go outside. All right, so that was yet another doctor who said she's not going to walk for a year. Basically, we're on our own. They say, oh, it's normal, it's not an issue, and no one wants to take it seriously, so we're going to have to make it happen on our own. F*** them. We started a charity called Help Sophie, where we were going to get her to walk. And we put posters up all over town. We talked to friends and family.
Here, my daughter, when she was born, they said she wouldn't walk for at least a year.
Get them out of a wheelchair and get them onto the streets, you know? Where they can make a difference in other babies' lives and inspire other babies to walk. So I've been putting these up all over the neighborhood, all over New York, hoping that people will start saying, yeah, that is kind of weird, you know? Oh, you're born, you can't walk? Doesn't make sense.
Yeah, no, it doesn't really make sense.
Why are we listening to
doctors? Have you seen any
doctors?
other animal in the wild? They're walking the first day, usually. The giraffes, they got those big, long legs, and they can't fucking...
This is the same
they
thing
can
with
just get up and
circumcision.
walk.
They used to think snails worked. Oh, you put a snail on your arm and it'll eat your blood. Why was that medicine? Now they believe in astrology. That's not medicine. So I'm saying, why is a baby in a wheelchair medicine? It doesn't make sense. Eventually, it became almost impossible to avoid. Our baby was going to be unable to walk until she was 14 months. It was hell. It affected everything we did. We would try to take her to bars, but the majority of them didn't have wheelchair access. Even going to the bodega to get cigarettes was a chore because I'd have to wheel in her chair
Going to the
backwards.
bodega to get cigarettes.
Here she is now. She's 2 now, and she's walking great. I don't think that new parents should have to write off a year of their lives just because the medical community says that someone, a human being, isn't, ready to roll right when they come out the gate. And I think that within the next 5 years, you will see babies that'll be like horses, it'll be like elephants, it'll be like other important mammals. They can just come out and go for it, So, yeah, she can walk, but I think our next child will walk before a year. I think our next child will walk within the first 2 months. That's our goal. And that's what we're going for.
Yeah, Mom, I'm doing great in Hollywood. What am I doing? I'm watching Matt Adams videos.
All right, you guys, I'm going to end the stream. It was a good time, but I'm getting tired. I'll see you guys later.